Alright, in this video I'm going to be going over variables on both side word problems. What's nice about the variables on both side word problems is that we know that it's going to be a variable on both side word problem if we are comparing two different things. So in this problem it says Pedro and Maria each opened savings accounts on the same day, intending to withdraw the money for weekly expenses. Pedro opened his account with $710 and withdrew $35 per week. Maria opened her account with $570 and withdrew $25 weekly. In how many weeks will their accounts be equal? So we want to know when they're going to be equal to one another. So we're going to write down what we know about Pedro, and we're going to set him equal to what we know about Maria. Once we've done that, we should have we should have a variables on both sides equation. And since we already know how to solve those, these should go pretty quickly. So Pedro opened his account with $710. So just like with two-step word problems, as we read it, we're going to write it down. So he started with $710 and he withdrew. Withdrawal is a bank word. Okay? Withdraw means to take money out of your account. So we're going to be subtracting there. So we're going to subtract $35 per week. Per means to multiply, and we don't know how many weeks, so we're going to use a variable. I'm going to use W. So that's all we know about Pedro. So now we're going to talk about Maria. Maria opened her account with $570, and she withdrew $25 weekly. So they want to know in how many weeks will they be equal. So we're going to go ahead and solve. I'm going to add the 35W to the negative 25W. I'm left with 710 equals 570. When you take negative 25 plus 35, you get positive 10W. Now this is just a two-step equation. So we're going to subtract the 570 away. We're left with 10W equals 140. And then we divide both sides by the 10 to get W by itself. 140 divided by 10 equals 14. Now it's a word problem, so we're going to have to label. The label can always be found in your question. So it says, in how many weeks? So that's what we don't know. So that's going to be our label. So in 14 weeks, their accounts will be equal. It's important to write down that withdrawal in banking means to subtract, and deposit in banking means to add. Those are going to be important to know for your worksheet. Again, you can always go back and rewind the video if you didn't catch it all, but we're going to go on. So remember, variables on both side word problems, we're always comparing two things. So in this problem, it says the Magic Carpet charges $90 for installation and $9 per square yard of carpeting. The Carpeteria's installation price is $50, but the store charges $13 for each square yard. For what number of square yards of carpeting will the cost be the same for both stores? So we're going to compare Magic Carpet to Carpeteria's. So we're going to write down what we know about Magic Carpet as we read it. So they charge $90 for an installation, and's a math word, it means to add, and they charge $9 per square yard. Square yards is what we don't know, so that's where we put our variable. It's being multiplied times the 9. For the Carpeterias, they charge $50 per installation, and they also charge $13 for each square yard. So plus $13 per square yard. Remember, guys, it's always easiest to move the smaller set of variables to the larger set. So we're going to subtract that 9y. So I have 90 equals 50. 13 minus 9 is a positive 4y. I'm going to bring the math problem over here so it's easier to write. So we're going to subtract the 50. We're left with 4y equals 40. We divide that number away from y to get y equals 10. And then right here it says for what number of square yards? That's our label. So 10 square yards. If we buy 10 square yards, it'll cost the same if we go to Magic Carpet Store or if we go to the Carpeterias. It's going to cost us the same amount. All right, and one last one. All right, it says a town's population is 14,000 and it is increasing by 160 people every year. A nearby town has a population of 24,000 and it is decreasing by 200 people every year. In about how many years will the populations of the towns be equal? So we have town 1. And then we have the nearby town, which is going to be town 2. So I'm going to compare town 1 to town 2. So town 1's population is 14,000, and it's increasing. Increasing means it's going up, so we're going to add there by 160 people every year. Town 2 has a population of 24,000 and it's decreasing. Decreasing means to go down, so we're going to subtract when it says decreasing. 200 people every year. Now on this problem, in the question, it says, in about how many years? When you see in about, you know you're going to be rounding. So you need to round to the nearest tenths place, which is one place past the decimal. So in this case, it's okay to get a decimal. So we're going to go ahead and solve this problem. It's going to be easier to add the 200 away, so we're dealing with positive numbers instead of negative. So then we're going to bring everything else down. Now it's a two-step equation, so we're going to subtract the 14,000 away. So we get 300 360y equals 10,000. We're going to divide by 360. So we get y equals, and you should get, when you type in 10,000 divided by 360, you should get 27.7 repeating. Okay? Right here is the tenths place. But remember, with rounding, we look to the number behind it, and that 7 behind it is going to tell me to round the tenths place up. So my final answer is going to be 27.8. And in the question, it said, in about how many years? So my label is years. In about 27.8 years, those towns' populations will be equal. As always, you can go back and rewind and rewatch anything and copy anything down that you didn't have time for. This should help you get ready for your assignment and your quiz.